Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Greater Toronto Area, and if you remember, the last market update I did was back in January. And I said back in January I was going to start to do them quarterly rather than monthly. Main reasons many of you started doing your own updates, and I thought, well, that's great, and that was the purpose that I did these, was to sort of show you how you can create updates for your geographical area. However, COVID-19 decided to enter our world. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go back to monthly for at least in the next 90 days so that I can bring you maybe some numbers and also my insights and what I see going on in the market. So let's look at this. Let's look at the first 3 months of 2020. You can see in January we did 4,581 sales and went to 7,256 and then went up to 8,012. Obviously, we were moving into what would be considered a very normal, hot spring market. Now, if we look at March, the first couple weeks were very strong, but then the last 2 weeks it started to slow down dramatically because COVID-19. What about active listings, months of inventory? Look at this. We had 7,772 listings at the end of the month, 1.7 months of inventory. Now, 4 to 6 balance, below 4 are seller's market, below 6 a buyer's market. Very strong market. Just no inventory, basically. And then look what happened here. 8,816 listings, 1.2 months of inventory. Went to 10,676 listings. Bear with me, everybody. And we went up a little bit, and the main reason for this, I'm sure, is the last 2 weeks. It just started to soften, the market started to soften a little bit. But even you can see prices here, 839 in January was the average, 910, and then 903. Now, what happened January, February, March, opposed to the same month last year? You'll see here, 2019 in January, we did 4,009 sales. Look at this, up by 14.3%. Big number. What happened with prices? 748 up to 839, or up by 12.2%. February, 5,025 sales. Look at 7,256, 44%. We were up in February. Look at the prices, 780 to 910. That was an increase, 16.6%. Look what happened here in March, 7,187 in 2019, went to 8,012, up by 11%. We all know if it wasn't for COVID-19, this would have been much higher, and this would have been much higher as well. Still, if we look, March 19 to 20, we're up by 14.5%. So overall, the market was really starting to heat up until COVID-19 decided to rear what we would call its ugly head. 2019, we did 16,221 sales in the first quarter, and look at 19,849, which is up by 22%. These are massive numbers. Now, you're probably asking me, well, Rich, what do you think is going to happen? Well, the jury is out. Nobody knows for sure what is going to take place. But here's what I do know for sure. Some people are still going to buy real estate, and some people are still going to sell real estate. Now, you were deemed an essential service for a reason. Because some people need to buy and some people have to sell. Some people might have sold their house, they need to find a place to go, or vice versa. There's other people who are going to have to sell for other reasons. There is still going to be a business available out there. There's no question. Now, what I'm going to suggest right now that I think is a very good strategy is every single week you should be studying your market. You should know in the area that you work how many homes sold, how many homes were listed. What's the active listings right now? And you might want to break this down into micro markets, condos, detached, semis, whatever the case is. And the reason why is because when you're speaking, with the public, they're going to start to ask you about real estate. What are they going to say? Our house is still closing, right? Can you buy? Our home's coming on the market. Is there anything selling? And you need to know those numbers because some of those people are going to be leads. Other people, maybe not highly motivated at this time, but they could be leads for 60, 90, 120 days from now. So one of the strategies that I suggest is you want to make sure you keep studying your market on at least a weekly basis so you understand the numbers. When somebody asks you a question about real estate, you can rhyme off what's happening in your marketplace. How else can we help you right now? We have a number of resources. Now, if you're not already following us, I would say go to facebook.com. It's called Official Richard Robbins. That's the account you want to find, and we're posting videos and other great content there. Also, Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram right now. It's Richard L. Robbins. Stands for Lawrence, by the way, just in case you're wondering, which was my father's name. Okay, website, you can go to richardrobbins.com and you can subscribe to our email list where we're always pushing out great content, sometimes blogs, include videos, things like that. And then, of course, I have a podcast. And you can go to the Richard Robbins Show, which you will find on, you can go to, say, Stitcher, okay, iTunes. We've got some up on our website as well. And subscribe to the podcast, because when you subscribe, every time we release, okay, a new episode, you'll be notified. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a difficult time right now. There's a lot of uncertainty in all of our lives. But at the end of the day, no matter what is going on, always remember, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.